And welcome, everybody, to another Nothing Like a Good Book. It's great to have you, and I do appreciate your emails. Keep them coming. And if you think there's somebody that we should be talking to, let us know. Like this particular lady, and her name is Kim Beltz, and it's her first book. I always love first bookers. She's on Amazon, and from what I hear, it's doing well. She's from the area of the Palmerton Area High School and way back, Northampton County Area Community College. She worked as a dental assistant in her career. But the book is called Sly as a Fox, with justice for Luke, and it's a true story of love, lies, and a victim of scam. Oh, no. Kim, is this fiction book your first book?
Yes, it is.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So what was the sole purpose of writing this particular book?
Well, I know a lot of people, when they get scammed and different things like that, and they have trouble, they go to either a therapist or a counselor or to a minister. Well, my therapy was writing this book. I had to own up to my own mistakes and I take responsibility for my actions, and lastly, to love myself and ask for forgiveness.
Okay. Now, I'm going to quote you here on this. As you can see, Luke was free to express himself. However, his demons won, but justice will be served to clear his name. This will take time, but she has a lifetime to work on this for him and herself. Every day is a new beginning and an adventure. She will love again and be true to herself. She's taking steps to apologize to the ones she's hurt. However, if they don't accept her, then she must move on and surround herself with positive people that love her and don't judge her. For this is her way to let everyone know that they're not alone. They are loved, they are beautiful, for I am her, and my name is Kim. Isn't that lovely? What's the message in that?
The message in that is to believe in yourself. Even though you make mistakes, life moves on. You're only human. You know, if God can forgive you, so should yourself and so should other people. Okay.
Now, the book is a beautiful cover on it, actually. I was just looking for it again. It's the artwork. The idea of the wolf is what?
The fox on it?
The fox, wolf, fox.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. The fox, actually, if you look at the spelling, is Foxe.
Yeah.
And that is the person's last name that scammed me.
Okay.
And he was sly as a fox.
Okay, now I get it. All right. So were there any red flags that, should have been a sign that you were being scammed?
Well, not at first, but because I was infatuated with the person. But as time went on, being called queen and princess, and looking at the paperwork more closely for, in fact, like his driver's license. Yes, it was from the United States. It was from Texas. However, a normal U.S. driver's license goes month, day, and year. On this one, he printed it out as day, month, and year, which is European.
Wow.
So I didn't see that because I was infatuated with the picture.
Okay, so it's quite obvious. We're dying to find out how it came about.
Well, I was feeling very depressed with my mother passing. My father passed 11 years prior to her death, and Mom would always call me 3 to 5 times a day, and I would take her to the doctor's, grocery store, bank, pharmacy, anywhere that Mom wanted to go, to church, to the movies, if she wanted to go out to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And when she passed, I felt an emptiness and that I wasn't needed anymore.
I feel for you. I really relate to it in a lot of ways. I only had my mom. I lost her at 58. And she was my best friend. And we did everything together when I was in my hometown. I was all around the country in my media career, but I understand. So here you say we buried Mum and Dad today along with their king. along with King, their dog. Dad had passed away 11 years prior, and we kept his ashes as per their wish. So when the other one passed, we would bury them together, but they also wanted me to bury their dog King with them as well. It was a sad day, but it was a day of rejoicing because Mom would no longer be in pain. What was she suffering from?
Mom had depression and some medical health problems in the past. Mom she took an overdose of medicine because of her mental health abilities. She didn't have the right medication, and she took an overdose, and I found her. And what happened was when she came out of the coma after being in it for 3 weeks, they pulled the trachea tube out too fast and collapsed her windpipe. And that was back in the 1970s. And the procedures at that time, were just fairly new.
Yes.
But they cut her windpipe because it collapsed like a balloon end. Mm-hmm. And they cut above and below, and they put a plastic piece in, and they sewed it, and they shot Teflon around it to keep everything, together, lubricated, right, and smooth. And she was in the hospital for 3 months with her chin attached to her chest for healing purposes. And she lost her voice, and but she regained it, and she sounded gravelly, like a frog almost.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So for every 6 months, we had to go to a specialist in Philadelphia, which is like an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hour ride into Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And they had to actually go down her throat when she was awake. And that's not a nice sight,
No, not at all.
To go through.
Good Lord.
So we had to go down there for almost 50 years doing this.
Yeah, I understand it. Your mother she suffered dearly. The poor woman had, 4 miscarriages?
Yes.
A hysterectomy at the age of 32, 4 nervous breakdowns, and 17 electroshock treatments, and in a coma for taking the wrong medications. When she passed, you were going through her stuff for the next couple of months, and you sat there and got more depressed, because anybody who's listening to this now and can really relate to it, I think by the time we finish, it's going to help them greatly. And I can understand what you're going through. You got depressed, so it's sort of, you were terribly open for a bad element to come in.
Right, exactly. And it just happened, and I got hooked, line, and sinker.
And there were no red flags. The only red flag is you found, but this was later. You found that I
found out later, and that's why I want to let people know the red flags, to watch for them. Mm-hmm. Like, now I can understand what happened and what I didn't see.
Okay.
And these are the red flags that I want to show people. Hey, now wait a minute. Mm-hmm. This is a scam.
It's a romance scam. There's a lot of them, and they're heartbreaking, and this book will sell, I believe, because you've got a lot of terrific stuff in it. We talked about the driving license per se, but what were your feelings when this was happening to you? How did you get so deep? Well, we talk about how did you get deeply involved, but the reality was because you were so low to be, wanted, I guess, or giving the impression you were loved and all this jazz.
Well, it was like I needed to be needed.
Yeah, needed to be needed at a time of extreme depression. How did he come into your life? Please don't tell me it was online.
Yes, it was online. Oh. Absolutely, it was online. Yeah. Scrolling through Facebook, of course, mm-hmm. and he did a friend request. And when he did that, I don't know him, but then he says, "Can we just talk?" Okay, how much can talking hurt? Well, talking did hurt. And it came to be such a big scam. And it was like going fishing, I got hook, line, and sinker. And I got caught in the fishnet, and I couldn't get out.
Well, there's a lot of them online, and I understand because people say, well, I don't want to go to a pub, and I don't want to go to a disco, and I certainly don't want to, unless you're introduced to somebody, right, or you're in a special group, you turn to online, and the way things are going, to be honest with you, everything's going to be online and social. In fact, the future is social shopping. It's happening now. So, in fairness to you, thousands of women would have gone potentially for this same way, okay? So that's the thing there.
And yes, and looking over everything after I got through and admitted to myself that this was a scam, and I did more research, I found out that this gentleman wasn't who he said he was, and it was a different person. He stole the identification of Luke.
Was Luke dead?
Yes, Luke is deceased.
And this is how sometimes these, they call them actors. Poor actors.
Yes.
I do acting. I don't like to be, synonymous with a boogeyman. But this actor, per se, somehow got hold of his gear.
Absolutely. 27 under one name, 15 under a different name, and quite a few under other names that he used the identification of this poor gentleman that was deceased before he even talked to me 3 months prior to my mother's passing.
Okay. Have you found out how many women totally then?
No, I haven't. And but looking at the identifications on the profiles of each of the pictures, you can see that it's all women that he contacted. But this not only happens to women, it happens to men, it happens to older individuals.
Yes.
And it is not just a love scam that they do, it's everything.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know that.
From receiving bills in the mail that from hospitals that saying that you have a bill that is owed.
Oh, yeah.
And you weren't even in the hospital.
Oh, I know. And they're getting cleverer and cleverer. I have a very dear friend, an associate, who is the owner of Scam Prevention International. It's an online site. We've been talking together. She's been in the game for years. She loves helping people. And I said, look, maybe we should put a show together for it all and see if we can help people with it. And I couldn't believe the types of scams that go on.
Oh, absolutely.
92 a day in America alone. $800 billion last year were taken out of this country. This is one thing, no matter what you say about Trump, this is one thing. This guy might listen to somebody and turn around and say, right, I'm dedicating X amount of millions, right, to a task force to really get into this, to save Americans because they're losing businesses. They're committing suicide. They're old,
yes.
They're young, they're in between, and it's robbing taxpayers, and it's heartbreak to a lot of people. And we really need to stop it. There are so many scams, it's not funny. Now, let me ask you this. Why do scammers call you Green or P.I., kick-ass angel? Why is that?
Princess or angel or queen, because it's a business to them. What they're doing, I've looked into this now, and what they're doing is calling you princess, queen, or angel is because it's a business and they don't know who they're talking to. 1 minute they could be talking to Kim, the next it's Tina, Donna, and they're running down the list and they're going down it and just emailing it and sending out the same copy and
thousands of dollars. I think I saw a story about 2 weeks ago on I forget what show it was, but they actually went in and showed these guys out of Lagos, wherever they were. They're all in Nigeria somewhere, or in Indonesia, parts of India, and showed them doing this literally on the phone. What you've been hurt with, they were doing. Pretty good story, really.
Yes. Well, if anybody has the opportunity to watch The Beekeeper.
Oh, I love The Beekeeper. Yeah, well, it was a good movie.
Please watch it. It will hit home.
It'll open some eyes. That's for sure.
Yes.
So what made then the light bulb go off that you found out it wasn't real?
Well, the driver's license was the first thing.
But this had been how long after? No doubt you're sleeping with him and so on.
Right. It's just that it went through everything. He said he was working for an oil company. In fact, it was a big oil corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I called them and they said everything that he was saying that he needed money for, the helicopter, he needed airline tickets. This is all paid for by the oil companies and different things like that. So it was like, okay. He told me he broke his leg, but he was held hostage.
Okay, so let me understand here. You only met him online.
Yes. I didn't meet him
physically.
In person. No.
Oh, you never met him in person.
Nope. He planned on marrying me. I am coming to the States. I am marrying you. Here's my airline ticket. You can come and pick me up.
Right.
I waited in the airport. He said, we'll go get the marriage license on a Wednesday. We'll get married on Saturday because it takes 3 days. I had the minister, everything set up, and he never showed.
Unbelievable. What nationality was he?
I found out. He said he was German, but he told me he was German. But the real Luke is from England.
Okay.
But he, this real person had nothing to do with it.
No.
Nothing to do with this.
So not only did this happen once, but twice. What was different? What's the twice about?
After I admitted that I did something wrong, and I did that, I started, okay, I'm going to start doing stuff for myself and be a better person. And you know what? I wanted to always do a meet and greet.
Mm-hmm.
I want to meet this celebrity. And okay, I was going to make arrangements to do a meet and greet. Well, you have to pay for the meet and greet. Okay, I understand that, and send this and send that.
Well, hang on. And this is another one, is it? This is meet and greet a personality? What, like an actor, a superstar, or something like that? How does this one work?
Yes. This is a celebrity, a movie star. I wanted to do a meet and greet, and I was going to fly out to Chicago, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat in the airport, and he was supposed to pick me up, and he never showed up either.
But who's the meet and greet in this case? Who was it supposed to be?
Jason Vijay.
Jason Vijay. Now tell me about this then. Why did you want to meet this soul?
He seemed like a nice person. I love his acting. He's on Chicago PD.
Okay.
You know who he is.
I don't know, but there we go. Yeah. So he never had a clue of this, right? It's somebody else taking his name and his whole disposition.
And I actually contacted his manager to find out about the meet and greets.
You did? You found out who his manager was?
Yep, I found out who his manager was, that you can do the meet and greets. Well, here are all these meet and greet, and the managers were bogus. They were scammers too.
They've got it set up right, haven't they? Because you know what? I can understand in some ways wanting to meet and greet. What sort of money did you lay out for that one?
Only the airline ticket.
Wow, you got off light.
Yes, very much so.
In that particular case, but gee, you sound as gullible as I am.
Well, I thought, hey, this is legit. I got a hold of the managers.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you tried. So, God, it's stone the crows. How did this?
Any kind of, you have to be careful with anything. A meet and greet.
It says a lot. It says a lot, though, doesn't it, for America?
Yes.
The trouble with I'm still regarded an outsider. I've lived here for 20 years on and off, but the reality is that America's so big, and it's on the principle of what am I trying to say? The land of milk and honey. All you got to do is work hard, blah blah blah, and you'll be extremely successful. Unfortunately, there's 1% of it with the yachts and the damn planes and everything else. But there's so much visual stuff of it, everybody wants it, and the crime that goes on and the hurt and the scamming that goes on is pushed by greed and is pushed by, in a lot of cases, survival. This is why the drugs deals are so big, and the kidnapping and all of this. But it's also the populations, you know. It's so sad, and this book is going to reflect a lot of things you're trying to warn women about, and men for that case too. It's not just women, because there are a million scams out there. I mean, how has it affected your everyday life, Kim?
I lost a lot of friends and family over this, and it put me in financial ruin where I'm at the age of where I could retire.
Yes.
Guess what? I got to work. I got to keep working to pay my bills.
Right. And that's another thing it puts you back into, doesn't it?
Yeah. Admitting that I was wrong to myself and loving myself and taking responsibility for my mistakes and friends. I did reach out to a few, like I said in the book, and the ones that would take the time and accept me, you know.
Yes, I know. You soon find out who your real friends are when something happens to you
Absolutely.
like that. I can tell you
there
now.
Are some,
you know.
Yeah, there's some friends that just wouldn't give me the time of day that I thought were my very close friends. And I have to move on. I just can't
That's right.
dwell on
Well, I'm amazed. I'm amazed at you because you haven't put a gun to your head or taken poison. You haven't had a breakdown or a burnout. Your poor mother and dad went through hell, and you've hung on together. No matter what, you've hung on, and that's where I see the strength of your book. I think of what it can relate to people. Still with a smile on your face, you won't let this defeat you. No matter what, it's a lesson learned. You've made new goals. You'll never let yourself be fooled again, and you'll never understand what makes people so cruel. Well, you're learning. Trust is everything. It must have been earned by others, and it's got to be earned by you. And trust, getting to know somebody, getting to trust them, and getting to like them. I mean, if it all sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That cliche still correct, do you think, Kim?
Yes, absolutely.
And you know the other heartbreak I find too, because I interview a lot of different people in other shows that I do as well, and the employment industry, right? There are so many scams being offered to people who have been unemployed for some time or want to change their career. You know, they get all excited, and there's a lot of scams in that business too. Every time you look around, there's another one. You've got to be so careful, as you say, and this is the warning. You've got to breathe, let it go. You're going to be new. It'll be a reminder of what happened in a dark period of life. They're your new tattoos, aren't they?
Yes.
Believe in yourself and love yourself. Would that be, Kim, what you want the listeners to take away from this book titled Sly as a Fox?
Yes, absolutely. When life has you down, get back up on your horse and keep riding, because there's a whole wide world to see out there. Do not get caught up in you know, poor me. It happened. It's done. It's over with. That bridge, you know, you crossed that bridge. Now is a new chapter. Go on.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because if you don't, it's going to eat you away.
It's going to consume you, and life is too short. So you have to live for today, not tomorrow, not yesterday, but for today.
Have you heard anything back at all from the constabulary, you know, the police? I mean, no doubt you would have done a fair bit of reporting to...
Oh, I reported it, and we're still working on it. It's a case that's still open.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not giving up. Like I said, I have a lifetime to fulfill my objective, but I'm not going to let it consume me either.
No, but you've got a right to think that you can go back after, because you've given money, you've given other things. But who would you be working with? It wouldn't be normal police. It'd be the FBI, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm working with a detective at the moment, and we are getting everything, our ducks in a row, as you would call it, and handing it over to the FBI.
Right. Yes, they, because, you know, there's a lot of enforcement can't do anything about it. They don't want to do anything about it. It's up to the FBI, and they've got their hands full. There's a million cases. I was closely involved with a case and had a lot to do with the FBI. And it was explained to me that they're understaffed, and these areas are just so many, you know, there's just so many things. But this book is a very personal way of sharing to those that read this book I'm giving you clues. I'm giving you ways to look out for things. Be careful, how not to be scammed. And then, if you are, how to get through it and what to do at the end of it. It is on Amazon. And the book link is www.amazon.com.au/sly as a fox, Kim Beltz, Amazon, okay? Beltz, by the way, is Beltz, Kim Beltz. And you can check out the Facebook too, www.facebook.com/Kim Beltz Officials, all in one sentence. All righty, and now I'm putting you up on the site. People will have a nice headshot of you and your bio and the links to different things like I've just shared and where they can buy the book and so on. And it's under Nothing Like a Good Book, which is on tab 3 on markbishopmedia.com. So by all means, go to that. And what would you say... are you going to do any book signings at all? You know, have you got a chance to do that?
If I would have the opportunity, I would love to do that. I would love to also do, go and talk to people and say, hey, this is what you need to look for. And there are apps out there that does facial recognition. And that's how I found out who the real person was.
Interesting. Tell us a little about that then.
Well, his name was George Foxe, and I went on this app and I typed it in and I copied and pasted, which they do, his photo and downloaded it, and it ran through a whole bunch of people, and it popped up that George Foxe isn't George Foxe. His name was Luke.
So tell me this app or this site, how does one do this?
You can go on and just search and just do facial recognition and look at different sites. I do not have the app's name that I used. Okay. However, you can Google it and go on the App Store and look to see, and that's I did pay for the site. But it was well worth it.
And how much is that, if you don't mind me asking?
I think it was like $10.99 or something like that. Mm-hmm. But then I stopped it because I found it.
Yeah, I mean, what's $11 in the overall scheme of things? But then again, How do you know that's not a scam? Tell me.
Right. Well, when I did go and I found his real name, I did look on Facebook at the different sites with his name on it, and the apps, and I found the real Luke.
Because this was spelled Foxe too, wasn't it?
Foxe.
Yeah, not just Fox.
It was George Foxe.
Right, George Fox. Right. But it was an American license.
Yes, an American license. He said he came from Germany. He married in the United States. He was a citizen. He showed me, his green card, all the different things, his divorce papers. He showed me everything.
Right. And you've got pictures of him though, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And the FBI working with those to get them out there, are they?
Right. But there's other pictures that I found of different people on the sites that took over. And if you read the book, you will find out. I found a trading school, and it's very interesting. So if you read the book, you'll find out the different scenarios that I found.
Well, I will be because, as I said, I was talking to my friend, and I really would love to get this show off the ground. It's called scamalert.tv. And she said, yes, but a lot of people have been scammed, Mark, don't want to come on. We were going to do it online, and so it's visual. And I said, yes, but there'll be those that would, and they can really help and warn others. And they can.
That is my main objection. This is, and what I'm going to do is the proceeds, some of this that I'm going to be taking in with the book, are going to be going to a foundation for Luke. You
isn't
have
that
to read the
lovely?
book.
Right.
You
Okay.
have to read the
You
book
got to read the
to
book.
understand who Luke is.
Yeah, I
You
get you.
know,
That's the guy out of England. I know. I know.
yes, and Luke doesn't deserve this. Neither do I. Neither do my friends and family
Hmm.
that I did this to.
I got a
You
hunch
know,
that
and
Luke's spirit is helping you with this, you know.
well, yes, yes, but I need justice. Luke needs justice, and the people, like I said, eventually that will, that forgave me
Right. Right.
will have justice as well.
Sly as a Fox with Justice for Luke. That's the name of the book. It's a true story of lies and a victim of a scam. Dear oh dear. And the author is Kim Beltz, Beltz. It's her very first book. I wish you well. It's in Kindle edition. And you can get it paperback. You can get it hardcover. It'd be a nice warning gift to give to somebody you love. Say, keep an eye open. Have a read of this, Mom. Have a read of this, Dad, whatever. But
It's a quick read.
I love the idea of go to Google search, go for facial recognition, and then from, click on, check them out, and you can go from there because that's a start. There are so many dating online things that are going wrong and people being hurt. That's a start. Let's see, who the hell you are. If you say who you are, you are. That's a start. And then we can find out the rest later. Kim, I wish you all the luck in the world with this. It's a wonderful, wonderful cause. And if I get this other show off the ground that I would really love to do, I've just been searching for a sponsor. The reality will be I'll have you back if you don't mind. I'd love to have you on as a guest if you don't mind sharing.
I don't mind sharing.
Fabulous. Good on you. You've got some kahunas, sort of. All right, Kim, it's been lovely speaking with you. And
Thank you, Mark.
We'll get this done as soon as we can. And you keep strong. You keep smiling. All right? Nothing will defeat you. You've got a wonderful spirit, and I know you're going to be fine.
Thank you, Mark.